This parametric shape is generated using the ruled command in GDL. This parametric shape is generated using the ruled command in GDL. Ruled creates faces between two profiles. All we're doing is defining one profile at the bottom and another at the top, and GDL does the rest. G'day, I'm Bruce from Barking Dog BIM, and I'm here to make Archicad bark for you. You'll find the ruled command under 3D shapes, shapes generated from polylines, and we'll use the ruled to command because it's just a bit more robust. I'll refer to the online version so it's not split across pages. Here's the syntax: ruled, N for number of coordinate lines, your mask and your base coordinate lines have a status code at the end. So what does all this mean? The ruled to command has exactly the same syntax as the ruled command, so if you know one, you know the other. Here's a description. Ruled is a surface based on a planar curve and a space curve, having the same number of nodes. What does that mean? Planar and space are just fancy terms for your base polygon. Well, it doesn't have to be a polygon, it can just be a line. But it is on the XY plane, as you can see here. X, Y sits flat on that plane. And the space curve, it's called a space curve because it's up in space. And it doesn't have to be horizontal. It can be any shape you like, just needs to have the same number of nodes as the base one. And then what it does is it draws straight segments between the nodes and fills them in. Let's start a new object, which is either clicking that button on the Edit GDL Library Parts toolbar or File, Libraries and Objects, New Object. We'll leave this as a model element subtype. And copy in some starter code that you would have seen me do before into my 4 scripts. I'll just create a parameter for my surface and just set that surface before any of my commands. Now the command is ruled. We'll use the second one. Now the N stands for the number of nodes in your base curve. So we're only going to do 4 to start with. The masks, I'll leave at 0 for now. And our coordinates, X and Y, 0, 0. And the status of the lateral edge we'll put as visible. All right, that's the coordinates of my base curve. And we'll do exactly the same. Don't forget my comma here. Do exactly the same for my space curve, except this third number here does not stand for a status. It stands for the height, which we'll exchange out for our special parameter of ZZYZX. All right, check the script. Script is okay. Let's have a look at our 3D view. There's my shape. Keep in mind that I've called the axes command, which if you want to know what that is, have a look at episode 28. This doesn't quite look like what we want, does it? This is where we have a look at our masks and what they do. Here's our masks. It can look a bit overwhelming with all the wordy words and numbers, 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 but basically each J flag will do something to your object. And if you want to turn on any of these J flags, you just add the corresponding number to your mask. So if I want to activate J3, I add 4 to my mask. So J1, base surface is present. Not there. Let's go 1. Base surface is present. There it is. Next one is 2. Top surface is present. So let's add 2. There's the top surface. 4 is side surface is present. Now you might think that the side surface talks about all the sides, but it doesn't. It just talks about the final side. Let's add that. Side surface, there it is. J5 is edges on the planar curve are visible. Remember, planar curve is the base curve. So edges on that curve are visible. And J5 is 16. You couldn't see it because my axes were in the way. Let's get rid of that. Right, base curve, 16, there it is. J6, edges on the space curve are visible, and that is 32. Keep an eye on the top here. There it is. And the last one is edges of the surface are visible. Surface is not smooth. Now, I'll add that, but we're not going to see any change at this time. I'll go into that in more detail later. There is our box. Let's save this so that we can look at it in our native Archicad environment. Place it down. There it is in 3D. Have a look at a section here that cuts through that object. There's the cut fill. So it's a solid object. So you might be thinking, well, what's the point of that? I can create that a lot easier using the poly command or the block command. Why do I need to use this? Well, the good stuff happens when you start to play around with that top surface. So let's effectively twist this top surface. Instead of this first point being here, we'll shift it halfway along this line. Same with the other points. We'll just shift them halfway along their corresponding edge. And that looks something like this. So instead of being at 0, 0, it's at 0, b divided by 2. Have a look. There it is. It's rotated that top surface and joined the base with the top by drawing straight lines between them and filling them in with surfaces. Let's just change the height. There it is. We've now got the Freedom Tower, more or less. Now the other thing we can do is we can tilt this top surface. So instead of it being horizontal, we can tilt it like so. And it will still connect them all. It's still solid. Now it can only be solid if this top surface is coplanar. So if I make it so it's not coplanar, there we go. It just becomes a surface shape instead of a solid. Something to be aware of. The other thing to know is that if I don't complete the shape with this side surface, so 4, let's turn that off, it doesn't render as a solid shape. Just add that back in. Save that. Let's have a look at our section. It's a nice solid shape. Let's make it 5 meters high, a little bit higher. There we go. And there's our shape in elevation. So that's the basics of the shape. That's a good start. Let's do something a little bit more interesting though. All right, what do we got? Looks pretty complicated. I'll break it down for you. I've created some more parameters. Top radius, top rotation, and top tilt for my cylinder. And I've also created some on-off parameters for the masks that get used so that we can turn them on and off and see what effect they have. In the 3D script, I've created a subroutine called tapered cylinder. This is just dynamic hotspots to control the various parameters I've created. You'll see them in action soon. And if you want to know how they work, check out episode 35. And we've got our cylinder. I'll find the actual top angle using some trigonometry, and then we'll input our base coordinates using a step angle of 360 degrees divided by our resolution to find how many points on our base circle we're going to have, and put those coordinates, the X, the Y, into our buffer along with our smooth, whether the base is going to be smooth or not. Then we input our top coordinates using trigonometry again, but this time we're taking into account the rotation of the top, and also the Z will take into account the angle of the top. Set our mask by adding up our J values. If you recall, each J value had a number associated with it. These are off and on, so 0 and 1. So if J1 is turned off, it will be 0. If it's turned on, it will be 1. J2, if it's turned off, it will be 2 times 0, so 0. Otherwise, it will be 2 times 1, so 2, and so on. So that way you can control the status with a simple on-off parameter. Then our command, rule 2, we need to figure out how many coordinates we have in our base curve. So we take our number of stored parameters, divide it by 3, because we input 3 items per coordinate line, but we only consider the base curve, so we then divide that by 2. Set our mask, which is this all added up, and then we get all of our coordinates out of the buffer. So let's have a look at what that does. Now you can't see anything in plan because there are no edges, top or bottom. So I'll just turn on the base edges and the top edges. There they are. And in plan, they appear. We have a look at this section here. Cutting right through our object, but it's hollow. So we'll also turn on our base surface and the top surface to make it a solid shape. Right, so there's our ordinary cylinder, and here are the hot spots that I've created. This one will impact the height. This one will impact the top radius. So I can adjust that independently to the base. This one will adjust the twist. And this one will adjust the tilt. So we can get some pretty interesting shapes happening. Let's have a look at what the various masks will do. If I turn on the side surface in this case, nothing happens because it's already a closed shape. If I turn on the surface edges, it now has drawn a line on the triangulated part of the surface, further articulating it. So if I wanted to smooth this, I would turn on the smooth status, which is the base, and turn off the surface edges. It looks nice and smooth. Let's reiterate that. If I turn on the base polygon edges, it draws a line from point to point. But you can see that the surface lines dividing the triangulation are turned off. So if I turn them on, I've got all the lines. If I turn off the base surface lines, no impact until I also turn off the surface edges. There we go. And the number of divisions is tied to this parameter here. So you can make it quite fine in the detail. That's a closed shape. Let's have a look at an open shape. All right, I've created a subroutine called ruled surface down the bottom here. What this will do is it will take our base curve and divide it up by our resolution. Find out our top angle, set some dynamic hotspots so that we can freely adjust those. Find out some other variables we need to know, like base radius, our X and our Y coordinate for each iteration along that line. Put those coordinates into the buffer along with our smoothing status. Find our top coordinates along with the Z offset for each position along that line. So we've got all of these coordinates sitting in our buffer. I'm going to add the cursor along in the X direction, so we draw it next to our current cylinder. And then we draw our ruled, same as we did before. I'll just take this mask command out of here and put it up before I call my subroutines. Right, let's have a look at what happens. That looks interesting. What does it look like? That's not quite what we hoped for, is it? Why not? And the reason comes down to how the J3 behaves. Side surface. This will draw the last surface from your final coordinate point to your first coordinate point, closing off your shape. Now it works fine for a cylinder, doesn't work too good for a ruled surface. So let's uncheck that. And what we also need to do is turn off our base surface and our top surface. And there is our ruled surface with the variability to make some adjustments so that you can arrive at some fairly interesting shapes. Once again, if I turn on my surface edges. I get ruled lines on all of my surface edges. If I turn that off, I only have them joining the points. And if I turn my status to smooth, and there we go, the surface is completely smooth. Now that's how it renders. Doesn't look so good in projection though, because it still is a straight ruled surface. So keep that in mind when developing this object. What have we covered? Ruled 2 creates a surface between a base curve and a space curve, so the bottom curve and the top curve. Those two curves must have the same number of nodes. Whether your curves are open or closed depends on a combination of the masks used, the first and last nodes being the same, and the top space curve being coplanar. And remember, a ruled surface is made up of straight segments between nodes. The more nodes, the smoother the shape. Once you get these principles, you can create some pretty complex stuff. That's Archicad, barking for you.